used to be a Charlotte Hornet.
You don't.
Yeah, because the media keeps telling us that every time
Every 5 minutes.
every time he makes a layup.
So why didn't we hear much about that the last game? I wasn't following. Let me know.
I don't. Yeah,
because I know they played a game.
They did. Yeah,
and I didn't hear much
about him. I didn't. Did he play?
Who knows, man? We didn't use him right according to some of them.
Right. Yeah, we did. Yeah. We're back under construction. Kaiser Soul says an angry black fan. Jamal Dark. We don't have too much to be angry about this week, but we can certainly find something. We'll find before the course of the show. Before the show is over, we'll find something to be mad about. So, what's up, Anthony? Anthony Badillo. Queen City Hornets.
Oh, my shout at would definitely be angry today. So
okay, all right.
I'll preview that in a second.
Let's talk about the big news in Charlotte from a sports standpoint is that the Carolina Panthers have said without saying that they're going to draft Bryce Young with the number 1 pick. And we said on this show, man, it's going to be CJ Stroud. Right. But then we hedged our bets the next week. We looked at some tape and we were like, Bryce Young might be the guy.
Yeah. It ain't no might at this point.
No, yeah.
Not my opinion.
Sources close to Bryce Young have stated that he's not meeting with any other teams.
Right.
And that's typically an indication that a team has stated you're the guy.
Right.
Don't talk. No need to talk to anybody else. You're the guy.
Right.
Also, some reports came out that CJ Stroud didn't do that well on that that NFL aptitude test. He scored very poorly, actually, very very poorly. Yeah, one of the worst. And an unnamed source from another team stated that. And this was before he'd even declared for the draft. He's supposed to go to some kind of function or something that he had committed to on behalf of that team. And he just no show, no call. Like call no show for work. That's what he did. And he said that left a bad taste in that team's mouth. And you guys know how sports is. All it takes is for one team to go to another team and be like, man, CJ Stroud.
Especially in the NFL.
Yes. And especially with young black quarterbacks.
Right.
So I think given all that, Bryce Young he's the guy.
Before we get into Bryce Young, quick question. Do you think CJ Stroud falls after this whole fiasco? Do you think he goes past 2 at this point? I'm going to throw you a curveball before you answer. I'm going to throw you a curveball. I don't think it is out the realm of possibility that Anthony Richardson.
I was going to say Anthony Richardson might.
And Stroud kind of tumbles down a little bit. I don't think it's out the realm of possibility. I'm not making a prediction. I'm just saying don't be surprised if it
happens. Don't quote George Lynch, Queen City. That's not. I don't want to,
we were trying not to be mad today.
I'm not going to talk about George Lynch. He's a Tar Heel. Yes, I was going to say, okay, so Houston needs a quarterback.
Yeah, obviously. Right.
And Anthony Richardson's pro day or his combine day, incredible, right?
Right.
And given what we've come to find out about CJ Stroud from as far as off the field stuff,
right,
his stock could tumble. We've seen this happen before. And Houston could say, we were successful before with an athletic black quarterback. Let's draft another one.
Right.
And if that's the case, then yeah, Stroud would he would fall pretty far.
But
probably out of the top 5.
I tell you what, though, the Texans better be careful with that, because one thing that's been on my mind since that news broke about the scores, whatever. Look, man, the NFL ain't standardized testing, bro. Like,
right.
Can you play?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that test asks you, hey, what do you do when a 6'4", 300-pound guy who can run a 4.5 is coming at you? What do you do in that situation? Dog, it's one thing to answer it, but can you do it on the field?
Right.
So I don't know how much stock I'm putting into.
I've never looked at at those aptitude scores with any real.
Not in
I can't even. I do know that like there are some players that have been known to score exceptionally high that did well. I know that Luke Kuechly scored really, really high, and that kind of makes sense given what we know about Luke Kuechly, right? But at the end of the day, like these guys aren't Rhodes Scholars, right? I don't really like your game IQ is very, very important in every professional sport, obviously.
And let me be clear. There's a lot of studying that goes into the NFL, especially right. Quarterback. You got to do some sort of studying. But when you're on the field,
right? Yeah, I think the instincts matter more. Yeah. I think that CJ Stroud is going to be a better pro than Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson's accuracy issues are, yeah. So I mean, look at Cam Newton. Okay, Cam Newton's biggest thing was accuracy and inconsistency. Now, granted, he went on to have really a great career. I don't care what people think about or say about Cam Newton. He had a career a lot of people would die to have, right? At one point, he was the best player in the league. But
voted by his peers,
yes, right? But I think Cam Newton, the fact that he was 6'5" and 250 really mitigated a lot of what he wasn't able to do as far as throwing the football. Right. And when Cam had a great offensive line, he could throw the football, you know what I'm saying? So Anthony Richardson ain't going to have those things. He's not the physical monster Cam Newton was. Right. I'm not sure. I CJ Stroud is the safe pick, but sometimes you got to make the safe pick, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
So the Texans might screw that up, but the Panthers, they're all in on Bryce Young. And
Scott Fitter is talking about Bryce Young like that's his son.
Why? He's not even the GM. I don't even know what he's. No. Yeah. So yeah, like you could tell they love Bryce Young. Like I can't remember the last time the Panthers gushed about a pick before. Now, granted, they've only had the number one pick twice before. So, but they didn't even gush as much about Cam Newton. In fact, it was unknown up until really draft day that a lot of people thought that Von Miller might go number one since Andrew Luck had gone back into or decided to stay in college. So, but
you know that our guy Marty Herney talked some sense into the Panthers draft. Like, this is our guy, man.
I think what did Marty Herney behind the scenes like?
What do we say? Let him make the first pick, throw him in the closet.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Consultant fee.
Right.
I call if I'm Fitter, I'm like, hey man, I'll pay consultant fee.
But listen, in all seriousness, I think it's a good sign that we see the Panthers brass all in on somebody. Look, because before, right when we traded like half of our franchise for the first pick, you know, the one thing I was worried about was indecisiveness. Like if you're going to trade the world for the number one pick, you better be damn sure about who you want.
Right. Yeah.
And at least we're at this point now. You know what I mean? So I think it's a good sign. There's not a bunch of indecisiveness going up until like the very day of the draft.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Bryce Young though. We've talked about him before on the show, but you know, the concern about him is his size.
Yeah, no doubt.
He's a small stature, but not just like from a height standpoint, he's got a smaller frame, right? Mm-hmm. Is that a concern? Should the Panthers be concerned?
So here's the thing, man. Of course, it should be a concern because, you know, when you draft, the NFL draft process, there's always some concern, right? So, of course, Bryce's size should be a concern. However, I have to give the Panthers props. They have taken every measurable step that you could imagine to make sure that whoever they draft, whether it's Bryce Young or whoever, have everything they need to be a successful rookie quarterback.
Yeah, that's true.
The offensive line, you got to give them credit. Somebody help me out because they did sign somebody on the O-line this offseason. It was more of a depth kind of thing. It wasn't like a big name, but at least they took the step to say, "Hey, look, man, we're going to have this in place, so you don't have to worry about that." Like a Cam Newton had to his first 3 years, right? So at least they're taking the necessary step to say, we're going to try our best to make this young man his job as easy as we possibly can.
Yeah. Clearly the Panthers, you know, they said, okay, we're going all in on the offense, and they've done that both in the draft and free agency.
One more thing. I mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
One more thing. One thing that everybody loves to talk about with Bryce Young is the way he processes information, the way he sees the field. This young man does have a pretty quick release, and I think those are the things that will help him mitigate being so small. You know what I mean? He can get rid of the ball quickly, like they say, process information quickly, so that should help him.
I mean, look at Russell Wilson.
Right?
Russell Wilson used to kill us year after year. And Seattle had one of the worst O-lines in the league, right? Russell Wilson had that touch. He had the IQ. He had the ability to move around and see the play. I guess, in my opinion, I feel like that could be Bryce Young's ceiling. Yeah. Russell, which is very, very good. Yeah. And his bottom is probably like Kyler Murray. Who the book is still out on Kyler Murray, right? So, should I check the mic? We good? We're good. Microphone check.
Hello. Somebody said check the mic. We're checking the mic.
I don't know. This mic it fell right before mic check. Okay.
Let us know if we're good, y'all.
Yeah. I'd hate if this mic broke because it was kind of expensive. Yeah. So
hey, we'll start a GoFundMe.
Yeah. I mean, we got spares.
Yeah.
But yeah. I like Swagner said, I have come around. Hold on, that's what it is. We need to point that towards.
Right, cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I've come around on Bryce Young. I looked at some film. I feel good about the pick.
Yeah.
I feel good about the future of the Panthers. Right. Miles Sanders said something this week, something to the effect of, I'm paraphrasing here, like we're not rebuilding.
Right.
We're going, yeah.
That's what I want to hear.
Right. We trying to win something this year. Right. And this is the best opportunity for the Panthers in a long time to do that.
Guys, where would the word rebuild even come from? Considering everything that the brass has done this offseason, where would we even get the word rebuild from? This is probably the best offseason the Panthers have had in a very long time.
Fans in every sport, and we're seeing this with the Hornets. We'll talk about them in a minute. They feel like it's either rebuild or championship.
Right.
There's no in between, right? There's no retooling.
Right.
Like it,
blow it up or go all
exactly, right? And I think Tepper doesn't want to do that because rebuilding is tough.
Painful.
Yeah, financially, economically, it hurts the city, it hurts the team, right? So you don't want to come out and say that, right? Hey, we're rebuilding unless you just genuinely are. And I think Tepper, he saw the core that we had, the core of talent, and said, okay, we don't need to completely blow this up, right? And it does feel like it because we got rid of two of our best players, on the offensive side of the ball, right. McCaffrey and DJ Moore, right. Which the DJ Moore trade was shocking, right? Yeah. And then we're getting a rookie quarterback.
Right.
So I can see why some people think rebuild,
right.
But I don't think the Panthers see it that way. I will say this. The pressure on Bryce Young is now immense. And maybe that's why they picked him. Maybe they felt like he could handle that better than CJ Stroud. Because whoever we pick, like we said 2 months ago, this better be the guy. You got to be the next Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, whoever. You got to be the guy.
And I'll say this much, man. I think being a quarterback at Alabama, well prepares you for pressure. You understand what I'm saying? I don't think there's a college coach in the world that puts more pressure on their players than Nick Saban. And then on top of playing for Nick Saban, you have the pressure of being an Alabama quarterback.
Right.
So, yeah. And plus, Bryce Young just seems like he's obviously got his head together, right? Scott Fitterer was saying talking to Bryce Young is like talking to a 40-year-old. So that lets me know that there's a great deal of poise that this young man has. So I think if anybody's equipped to handle that kind of pressure, I think we got the right guy.
Absolutely. I think that had a lot to do with the pick.
Yeah.
Like, okay, whoever we draft he's gonna have to come in and instantly be the leader of the offense, right? Who's better to do that? So
which in comparison, like if we're looking at C.J. Stroud in that matter? Do we have the same faith? I mean, let's be honest. You know what I mean?
No, yeah.
I hate doing this because sometimes it hardly matters. And I hate doing this, but you look at historically, if you look at Ohio State quarterbacks,
I was gonna say the same thing. Yeah, I was gonna say the exact same thing.
Now look, it may not matter with C.J. Stroud. Like I said, I kind of hate doing that sometimes, but it's just
but I think that matters. To look at the NBA, look at players that come out of the blue blood schools,
right? No doubt.
And look how good they are in the NBA. But Duke is the exception, right?
Right.
Now, of late, that's been a lot different, but I think that has a lot to do with how the NBA has changed.
Yeah.
But historically, if you were a great player at Duke, you were gonna be trash in the league. There was Grant Hill, and then there was nobody until like Kyrie Irving. I maybe okay. And I don't even count Kyrie Irving because he only played 8 games for Duke. Him going to Duke was just a formality. Same with Zion Williamson. Zion could have gone anywhere, right? Like Duke didn't develop those guys in the NBA players. Same with Jason Tatum. I don't think Duke developed those guys. They were going to be NBA stars regardless of where they went, right? So exactly. So same with Ohio State. Like they haven't been able to develop good NBA quarterbacks. And like I said, NFL NBA quarterbacks would be very interesting. Right. Charlie Ward was an NBA quarterback. But yeah, I feel like if the book is still out on Kyler Murray, but historically, Ohio State quarterbacks, there's something that doesn't translate, right? Alabama player or any players from that conference actually typically do well in the NFL. So
right, because they play in NFL environments every damn week. It seems like, man. So
that's true. Yeah, I don't think. In fact, I don't think the bright lights in the NFL are going to be too much for Bryce Young. So I'm happy with the pick. I do hate though that he's going to make rookie mistakes.
No doubt.
He's a rookie in the NFL. He's not going to come out in. He might have a great rookie season like Cam Newton did or Andrew Luck did, but he's going to make mistakes. And the fan response is going to be very, very interesting.
Of course it is.
Right? So you're going to have some fans. Is it going to be like LaMelo Ball who can't make a mistake, right? The fans feel like nothing is his fault.
This is going to be interesting. I don't know the answer to that question. I truly don't, man, because I think Panther Nation was split down the middle anyway when it comes to Stroud and Young. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
So that's tough, man. That's a really tough question to answer. And the thing is this, man. Who's the pressure really on? Because these were sweeping changes, right?
Right, yeah.
I mean, across the board. So I get the first name that comes to mind when it comes to who is the pressure really on. It's probably Frank Reich.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
Think about it. You have the Wilkes Brigade, including us, who's like, the hell you get rid of Wilkes for, right?
Yeah. I could
have the all-star coaching staff.
Yeah.
Now. So I think the pressure's on the coaching staff more than anybody.
I could certainly see a situation in which fans absolve Bryce Young of any mistakes that he made and puts those mistakes squarely on the coach.
No, right.
And mainly because Frank Reich was a very contentious hire. You know, there was, I mean, I'm fine with it objectively. And we even said this, like I feel like that's a good hire in a vacuum, but the context around it and the optics didn't look good. Right.
Right.
So that's going to stick with people.
And not to mention, Frank Reich has been branded as like the quarterback whisperer. You know what I mean? Like he's the guy that's supposed to, get the most out of his quarterback. So
yeah.
And look, don't understate how important a guy like Jim Caldwell is going to be.
See, but that's another thing. What if this is like George Seifert all over again? Now I understand that.
Oh, God, let's hope not.
I understand that Seifert was what we found out after that disastrous stint was Seifert was too hard-nosed. Yeah. Like he wasn't willing to make any compromises or anything. And he clashed with Jerry Richardson and players and the front office, and it just didn't work out. I don't think that'll be the case for Frank Reich. Right. Plus, Frank Reich's daughter works for the team. Right. And I hate to bring that up, but I don't hate to bring that up because it's true, right? So
it's part of the puzzle.
Right, yeah. So I don't think that will be the case, but the expectations are so lofty. You, like you said, dream team coaching staff. You got, and plus the division's wide open. Who's the best quarterback in the NFC South?
We haven't even touched that yet. We haven't even touched that.
It's not Baker Mayfield.
And look, you best believe, you know, like I know, you best believe Tepper is not going to have the patience he had with Matt Rule. You know good and damn well he's not going to sit around and wait 5 more years for this thing to turn around. And not with the moves they made this offseason.
No, so it took John Fox 3 years to get the Panthers to a Super Bowl.
Right.
Took Ron Rivera 3 years to win the division and get to the playoffs, and then 4 years to Super Bowl. Right. So that's kind of the timeline you're working with. Maybe even less. Matt Rule might have screwed you, Frank Reich. You might have less than 3 years to might have to win the division this year.
Hey, and let's be fair and objective. Let's be totally fair and objective. The one positive thing Matt Rule did do was build a pretty damn good defense, right?
He said he would. I'll give him credit for that. Yep.
He did do that. So you can't use that excuse that you don't have a good defense in place already. So
right. Yep.
Yeah. So that timeline actually may be a little.
I just feel like the division is wide open. Yeah. This is the year to set the standard. You could rule the division for a long time.
Listen. I'm probably sounding like Homer fanboy. I'm probably sounding like Homer.
Fanboy. We need more of those in Charlotte.
But I think the division should be ours. Let me break down why. Look at what we did this offseason versus the other 3 teams in the NFC South. And look at us on paper. I mean, think about this objectively. That division should be ours.
I mean, we almost won it last year. We were terrible, yeah.
And look, and you could possibly say the only reason we didn't win is because Horn and Jackson were hurt, and Tom Brady took advantage of whoever was out there.
They had me out there guarding Mike Evans.
Me and you were guarding Mike Evans that week, and Tom Brady took advantage of it. So,
Swagner, yes, I'm going to the home opener if I can. Boy, you know how hard it's going to be to find.
It's going to be a hard ticket. Just want to throw this out there real quickly. I'm hoping that the Hornets home opener is going to be very hard to get. And I'm also hoping that the Panthers tickets are going. You know why? Because that means there's going to be some damn excitement around here for one.
It's going to be actual people from Charlotte in the stands?
People from Charlotte. Not wearing Green Bay and San Francisco jerseys. Yeah.
Yeah. Who do we play the home opener this year?
Somebody let us know.
Yeah, somebody look up the schedule, see who we play.
It don't matter because I'm trying to go.
I'm gonna go. I like to sit in the 540s. I feel like that's normally a good price ticket, and if you sit in the lower part of the 500s, it's actually a really good seat. Yeah. If you sit up high in the 500s, you're kind of like, okay, what am I looking at? But down low, exactly. It's a really good seat. So if I can find a good price on that, I really want to go to home. I feel like the Panthers home opener might be more tough than the Hornets home opener. But if we get Wemby,
that's what I'm saying.
You will not be able to go to the Hornets home opener. You won't. You can forget about it. If you don't have tickets like today, you're not going because the media is going to be there. So they're going to get, their media seats. Right. And of course, and whoever we play, it'll be some shit like the Lakers. It'll be like LeBron versus Wemby or the passing of the torch game. And it's going to be that's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough ticket to get into. What direction do you think we go with the second round pick? That's a great question because that's one that we really haven't we've been so focused on the number 1 pick.
I'm glad you asked that. I can't see who asked that question, but whoever asked the question.
That was Brandon Cannon.
So my hope for the Panthers when it comes to the first 3 picks, the first one, foregone conclusion, right? But the second and third pick, I'm thinking the Hornets do some combination of either tight end, DN or DN tight end. Now, either one, right? And the name that I threw out there, one of our last podcast, it was a while ago, but the guy that I'm looking at as far as the tight end goes that could be available is this guy named Dalton Kincaid. Mm-hmm. Dalton Kincaid can do a little bit of everything. And most importantly, what Kincaid does as a tight end, he stretches the field. We have not had a tight end that has stretched the field in God knows how long. This guy can actually catch. You know what I mean?
Right.
I like Tommy Tremble. I just don't know how well he is as a pass-catching tight end consistently. Dalton Kincaid gives you that. So that's what I'm kind of looking at as far as the second pick goes, man.
I'm thinking I'm with Swagner on this one. I think edge rusher. If you're gonna switch, well, yeah, if you're gonna switch to 3-4, you gotta have 3-4 personnel.
Right.
I'm not sure if the Panthers have 3-4 personnel. We have guys that can play in the 3-4, right? Yeah. So I think you might want another edge rusher, or a D end, because you could have Frankie Louvu and Brian Burns on the edge and a 3-4. Right. But then who do you have at your D end? I mean, you're going to have Derek Brown at the nose tackle, but
which concerns me quite honestly.
I don't like that. I feel
I don't like it at all, bro.
But that's where I think the pick goes. And then cornerback would also be another good one, because how reliable is Dante Jackson
or J.C. Horn
or even J.C. Horn? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. So that's where I see it going. Oh, boy, I can't wait till the NFL draft. That's going to be
Thursday.
Yeah, are we doing
Yes, sir. If you are.
Yeah, hey, let's do the draft show and then go to Smoke and Barrel for Victory Cigar.
Let's go.
All right. Thursday. Y'all
tune in.
Here.
We'll be here.
Here.
Yes.
All right, let's go over to the other sport. Let's talk about, because there's not really a lot of Charlotte Hornets to talk about, right? Because
except for being angry at everything the general manager says, that's something to talk about.
Okay, so y'all gotta explain this to me. I'm gonna look dead in the camera. If fans hate Mitch Kupchak and his picks so much, why do they cry when those guys don't get any playing time? They want to see them dudes that they hate so bad. I don't get it. They're like, I don't.
I have nothing. I got nothing. Fans, if one of y'all could explain to us why that is the case, please let us know. Now, to get to where we're going with this, okay? Mitch Kupchak came out at the end of the in-season presser, basically saying the Hornets are not going big game hunting or big game, whatever. We're not going after big name free agents this season. Why is that a shocker to some people? I don't know. Now, people were specifically upset because he said, "Hey, we're a small market. We're probably not going to go after free agent." That pissed off a lot of fans. Oh my God, how can we use a small market as an excuse? Blah 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 blah. And that just infuriated the fan base. Mitch Kupchak told nothing but the truth. Okay, Kaiser, let me break this down to you. All right, I'm Jamal Kupchak. You're hotshot NBA MVP player who's a free agent this season. Hey, hotshot NBA MVP candidate. My team just won 27 games, and we have a very uncertain future. Want to come play for us?
I'm like, LeBron, hold up. He hit me up. I get right back to you.
Right?
Yeah. We have to be realistic, right? And it's funny because those are the same people that will tell you that you need to be realistic when you get hype when the Hornets are playing well, right? No, hey, you guys got to be more realistic. Down, right? But so be realistic. There's no, why waste energy trying to court free agents you're not going to get when you could use that energy to sign guys that you're going to get, or re-sign your own guys, because that's what everyone was saying we should be doing, right? Developing our own talent. Right. Now we have an opportunity to do that. We'll talk about Miles Bridges in a minute, but why would the Hornets go after a big name free agent? You're probably going to get a top 5 pick. You might get the pick, right? So,
guys, let me ask you a question. Out of the last 10 NBA seasons, what franchise has been like the model franchise the last 10 seasons?
Golden State.
Steph Curry. Klay Thompson,
Draymond Green.
Let's throw Jordan Poole in here too.
Yeah.
How did they get those guys?
Drafted.
And what did they do once they draft those guys?
They re-signed them and they developed them and they 4 championships.
One more question, Kyle. So you remember that one time they got the big name free agent? You remember that guy?
Yeah.
Does that guy come to that team if those 4 guys are not already on the team?
Nope, absolutely not.
What are we talking about? Hornets fans, what are we talking about?
But and here's the thing: whenever we do sign a free agent, no matter how they pan out, it's weird. I remember when we signed Al Jefferson, which was an outstanding signing.
I wish somebody would hate on that.
People were mad at the time, right? Man, Al Jefferson can't play no defense. The dude was a walking double and unstoppable in the post. Right. Like in modern NBA, nobody could guard him in the post.
Do you remember the differential between wins?
It was. I mean,
it was crazy, right?
It was absurd. Him and Kemba Walker, that was a good team. They had 2 playoff appearances together in the 5 seasons that he was here. Right. He got injured. We did get him kind of like on the back end of his career. Okay, all right. So then there was Lance Stevenson, which everyone loved that pick.
Except Rick Bonnell, who was right.
I didn't like that pick. I didn't. Lance Stevenson got famous for blowing on LeBron James' ear, or was that after he left Charlotte?
That was after, but I think
he had made this reputation as like this tenacious defender, and he was like the top free agent in that free agent class.
And the reality was he was just a little better than Gerald Henderson.
Yep,
that was the reality.
Yep, that was
because he forgot how to shoot once he got
exactly. He forgot how to. I don't know. I like erased the Lance Stevenson era. He made a rap video with Kemba Walker. That was his legacy here. And then we get Gordon Hayward, right, which people were mad at that. And let me be clear. People were not mad about the Gordon Hayward signing because they felt like he was injury prone. That was not the conversation. Right. People were mad. Was he worth $30 million? Money, right. Yep. So the fact that he ended up being injury prone just gave those people confirmation bias. Right. I told y'all he wasn't going to be worth $30 million. So my question is, if through history, Charlotte Hornets, when they sign big free agents, right, because those 3 signings were big. Gordon Hayward was a big signing.
But they're not big in Hornets fans' eyes because we say
which is ridiculous.
But you know what Hornets fans mean when you say big names.
But
you know what they mean, Kaiser. If it ain't Durant, Westbrook.
But look at all the teams that those guys go to the same damn teams.
We agree.
LA, New York, Chicago, Miami.
It's the same 6 teams,
yeah,
the same 5 or 6 guys, right?
Brooklyn, Philly, Knicks, Clippers, Lakers, Heat, right, Bulls.
Right.
That's those are the teams that those guys are going to go to.
And ironically, they're big markets.
Who would have thought that? Yeah. Oh, great point. Oubre was a free agent signing. People hate Kelly Oubre. I don't know why. Why y'all hate Kelly?
Look, man, I hate saying this. Listen, you clearly don't watch basketball if you don't like Kelly Oubre coming off the season he had.
Man, yeah. And he likes Charlotte.
And he loves being here. And he worked with our boy. You know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
I don't get it, man.
Yeah, it's what Hornets. Just don't listen to the fans on this one. Resign Kelly Oubre, okay? If they don't resign Kelly Oubre, boy, that would be
it's a step back.
That's a huge failing on the team.
It's a step back if we don't get that guy back.
And honestly, he was our best player this season.
Right, he really was.
I mean,
consistent.
Yeah.
Which is the knock on Oubre before this season was his inconsistency.
You're right, yeah.
And this season, he was pretty consistent.
Exactly. So, Hornets fans, just stop talking about free agents.
It's an exhausting conversation, dude. It really is.
Speaking of free agents, so technically Miles Bridges would be an unrestricted free agent, right? I've been trying to dig into this, so maybe one of our viewers can help. But I feel like the Hornets still have some kind of first rights to him because they have bird rights. So they can make an offer to him before any other team does, or something to that effect. My question is this. Do the Hornets re-sign Miles Bridges? Should the Hornets re-sign Miles Bridges? Should Miles Bridges re-sign with the Hornets?
I'll answer those questions. Yes, yes, and yes. Now, we got to talk about the elephant in the room, which is what happened with the offseason, which was a terrible thing. I've said Miles Bridges was insanely stupid on so many levels.
Very dumb. Yes.
Very dumb on a lot of levels. I don't want to get too deep into that because that's another exhausting conversation. I don't want to get too deep into that, right? But I'm going to keep my answer strictly basketball. Strictly from a basketball perspective, you have to. Here's why. The Hornets can't afford to take another step back. And the main reason they can't do that is because in LaMelo's year 3, which was this season, you got to understand, Kaz, this was supposed to be the jump season.
Right. This was his Ja Morant season.
This was the Ja Morant Grizzlies season.
Right.
It was supposed to be, right? It was the total opposite. You cannot, as a basketball franchise, you just can't afford it. Because on top of just basketball stuff, the Hornets are not in good favor with the fans for whether it's fair or not.
Right.
They are in horrible standing with their fan base right now. Kaz, let's keep it a buck, man. Does the majority of its fan base really care about moral stuff right now? I mean, a lot of us do, right? But bottom line,
I've seen people make comments to the effect of, I don't care what players do off court. I just want a winning basketball team. I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that, but
because I am.
The way they feel.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a man with a family.
Right.
And I understand. Like,
and a daughter.
As much as I love sports, all sports, it's
gotta be some moral compass.
It's just sports, right? The Hornets ain't paying my bills. Right. I mean, if I would love to see them win a championship in my lifetime, but if they don't, I ain't gonna go to my grave like, I can't believe the Hornets never won a championship. Who cares, man? It's like in the grand scheme of life, none of this matters, right? So that's how I feel about like people who say stuff like that. I just want to like what was Miles Bridges gonna come to your house and give you a cake? Like,
what if it was your sister? Would you feel?
Yeah, exactly. So, having said that, I'm kind of over it.
Mm.
If they re-sign Miles Bridges, great. If they don't,
cool, right. But I think they are. I'm almost.
You know why I think they might? I just don't think they want that. Because Miles Bridges, let's say they don't re-sign him, he goes to Detroit. He'll be a star there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And let's say they get Wemby, and it's Wemby and Miles, and they in the playoffs.
That's disastrous.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
Disastrous.
And you know what the media is gonna say?
Come on, man.
They're gonna kill us.
They're gonna murder us
for not re-signing.
Not only are the Hornets bad, that's making other franchises good now.
Then they're gonna find some quote Miles Bridges said. That Malik Monk was going crazy there. Boy, I wanted to jump through the damn TV. So I think the Hornets know that. They're like, look, like we're damned if we do, we're damned if we don't. Right. So we might as well do.
You might as well just make the best basketball move with this.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Re-sign him. Maybe you can get because he was looking for max.
I don't think he has that leverage anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't think he has that with any team in the league. They're gonna say, hey, dog, what didn't you just get arrested for beating up your baby mama?
The day before you supposed
right, exactly, yeah. So I don't think you're right. He don't have that kind of leverage, and I think the Hornets can come to him and make him a reasonable offer, which for Miles Bridges, I believe would be in the $20 million range, right? Mm-hmm. I think you could pay him like what you pay Rozier, 22, right? And I think fans and everyone would be happy with that. I'll say this: I'll never buy a Miles Bridges jersey. Right. But they re-sign him. It is what it is. Yeah. And I think Miles Bridges should re-sign with the Hornets because that's a good situation for him. Yeah. He doesn't know if he goes elsewhere.
There's no loyalty to him anywhere.
Exactly.
None.
Yep.
Yeah.
He'll be going into a completely new system with this luggage on your back, right?
Yeah.
And he could end up. And here's the thing: the media is gushing over Malik Monk when when he plays well, but he's the same guy.
Right.
He's, in fact, look at his stats as a Hornet. Going Basketball Reference. Look at his stats as a Hornet, as a King, as a Laker. Same guy. Right? In fact, this is one of his worst seasons statistically. So, it's like Malik Monk went, he had all this luggage on his back. And I mean, think about it. The Lakers were like, and and Austin Reeves out there committing racism every night. Every night. He out there doing something questionable to black dudes out there, right? Yeah, it's like, hold on, man. So the Lakers knew something that nobody else did. So I said that to say that if, don't go. I don't want Miles Bridges to go somewhere else with this luggage and be the same guy.
It kind of feels like he's amongst family with the Hornets. I know that sounds kind of mushy,
but I think the players like him.
Look, and most importantly,
LaMelo Ball
likes him.
I will say this though. So because we know if they re-sign Miles, it's going to be an apology tour, right?
There
has to be.
There has to be. Yeah.
But somebody got to sit him and LaMelo down and be like, all right, no more knucklehead shit.
Right.
No more sex parties.
Right.
And I know that was a rumor and we joked about it, but rumors are born from some kind of seed of truth, right?
There was a little smoke there.
Right. I no more this shit they did with the Panini card company where you forging LaMelo Ball signatures on these $1,000 basketball cards.
Let me clean this up. It's time for both of them to grow up.
Exactly.
On and off the court.
Exactly.
Who gets mad at that statement? It is time for both Ball and Bridges to
grow.
Yep. It really is.
Yep.
It is.
I'd even tell Miles the rap career just.
Dude.
And I say this, y'all know how I feel about hip hop and rap.
Same.
And I just feel like the light that it is portraying you in, like Dame Lillard, by the way, great rapper. He's like really good, but he's not out there talking about beating up women and pills and selling drugs. Shit that you don't do. Actually, Miles Bridges might do that. We don't know. Right? But if I'm the Hornets, I'm like, look, man, for instance, my job, if they listen to, I don't think I say anything questionable in my raps, right? I might,
not lifestyle stuff.
Yeah, I might say a few bars like that. Someone might be like, okay, Kosh, you don't really do that. But that's not like the theme of my music, right? Right. But if I made a song where I'm talking about selling drugs and shooting people and my job heard it, they'll be like, okay, you know what? Hey, let's talk real quick.
You represent this.
Right, yeah. So same with Miles Bridges.
Especially now.
Right.
Being at the state that the Hornets are in with their fan base right now. Him and LaMelo got to chill out, man. A lot. Yeah,
tell him it's time.
Down, man.
But that's how you take that next step.
Yeah.
Like I feel like, for those of you that have not seen the Redeem Team documentary, we might have said this before. Watch that. Yeah. I wasn't even that interested in it. I watched it on a whim, and it's a great documentary because the second half of it is really about Kobe Bryant, right? And it really changed the way I saw. I never really liked Kobe as a player. And I felt like after he retired, though,
you saw
it was a dip. Right. Exactly. And I was really, and we were all sad when he died, but I was really sad when he died because I felt like, man, he had a lot that he was going to give us.
Never saw his next act.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. But the Redeem Team documentary talks about just what kind of player Kobe was. And really, he won that gold medal for the United States. And there's a story that LeBron James and everyone tells about how they went out partying. I don't remember what country they were in. They went out partying. And when they came back from the club at 4 a.m, they were going up the elevator. Kobe was coming down with his gym bag. Right. He was going to the gym at 4 a.m. Kobe Bryant was going to the gym. Now, at this point, Kobe Bryant had been in the league 10 or 11 years. Right. He wasn't like nothing to prove. He already had an MVP award, had 4 rings, 3 rings. He's still going to the gym at 4 a.m. I said that to say, what ended up happening after that is LeBron said they were like, we just can't let Kobe just go to the gym by himself. So they ended up going to every morning. They in the gym with Kobe. So I said that to say is that's the kind of stuff you got to do if you really want to be a pro. You want to make that next step.
Which is why I keep saying, and I'm not comparing these two players to Kobe Bryant before somebody gets crazy. That's why I keep saying you got to resign guys like Dennis Smith Jr. and Kelly Oubre because it's deeper than basketball.
Yes.
Those are culture signings. And listen, yeah, people gonna get mad at me again. Steve Clifford is more of a guy. He's more of a disciplinarian than James Borrego was, and I think that's why a small reason of the kind of a really small reason why the Hornets brass kind of brought him into the fold because they knew style wise he was a little different than Borrego.
Yeah.
Now I say all that to say. All those things equal changing the culture of the franchise in small little pieces. And they got to continue to do that, man, because we can't have another playing game. We get beat by 40 again because these dudes don't know how to play in real basketball games. We can't have LaMelo Ball with ghost suspensions because we don't really know why he got suspended. New York Knicks game, hint.
Right, yep.
We can't have that stuff anymore, man. It's time for the Hornets not to take just the next step, wins and losses. They got to take the next step culturally.
Absolutely. I never forget the press conference after the playing game to the Hawks.
That was a mess.
He's like, I can only tell these guys so many times to play defense and take better shots, and they don't do it. And then the blame was placed on Borrego. Right. Essentially, people are saying he got fired because of that playing game. Well, what else could he do? But tell them, hey, quit doing what you're doing. You're losing the game. And then they go out and do it. They've got to stop that. Yeah. There has to be some maturity. And then, like you said, you got to have guys like Kelly Oubre, Dennis Smith, even Terry Rozier. And I know a lot of people want the Hornets to get rid of Rozier because they feel like there's other players that could be developing and Rozier is but Rozier he's a vet now.
At this point.
Also, Terry Rozier in his time as a Hornet has averaged like 20 plus points a game. Like 24 and 4.
That's not pretty easy to replace.
No, it's not. Like he's almost average. In fact, it might be a little more, but as many points a game as Kemba did during his entire stint as a Hornet, which is odd because I'm not saying Terry could replace what Kemba did. There's some differences there, but Terry's a vet.
Right.
People should be like listening to him and Oubre and DSJ and that's how you grow your team up, not just having a bunch of young guys trying to figure it out.
Right. Which is a big part of the reason why Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett said on their podcast, Wemby is better suited to come to Charlotte more than he is Houston, San Antonio, Detroit, or somebody else who doesn't really deserve him. So just to throw that out there.
Oh, Queen City Hornets said it. We were talking about this just before the show.
What's up?
Hey, I've got a great idea. Let's fire Clifford and hire a coach who just got bounced from the play-in and Nick Nurse.
Yeah.
Let me say this about Nick Nurse.
Go ahead, bro.
The Toronto Raptors were an elite team before Nick Nurse took over.
No, you can't say that. That doesn't fit the narrative.
It doesn't fit the narrative, but it's true. Facts don't care about your narrative. They were an elite team. They were in the Eastern Conference Finals or the semifinals every year, and they didn't tank to get there.
That is also very true.
Right? They had the same record in 2012 as the Philadelphia 76ers, who tanked to get 7 first-round picks.
And somehow, Dwayne Casey
gets blamed because they couldn't beat LeBron James.
Who was in God mode.
Yes, the guy who made 8 straight Eastern Conference
He's
Finals.
pretty good.
Yeah.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, he's not too shabby. Guy, right? And then after the season ends, they fired Dwayne Casey, and then LeBron James like, all right, I'm out. I'm going to the West. Oh, so all right, let's bring up Nick Nurse, the assistant.
Right.
Oh, by the way, hey, San Antonio, can we have Kawhi Leonard? Leonard, I don't want to play for them. Just for a year. Okay. You know, Kawhi Leonard. Okay.
Okay.
So he goes there. they get one of the luckiest bounces in NBA history against the 76ers. And then they play Golden State with Kevin Durant on one leg and Klay Thompson completely out.
Right.
You win a championship.
Nick Nurse is the best coach ever.
Nick Nurse, man, he top five.
He top five, man. Nick
Man,
Nurse is better. Stop it.
Get the hell up out of here.
Stop it. I don't hear it. And not only just that, I have one simple question, man. And I want an objective. If for y'all watching, if you can give me an objective answer, please give it to me. What has Steve Clifford done this season? Don't give me the history. I don't care about what happened in his first stint. What has he done this season to lose his job? And be fair, be objective.
The only thing that could lose Steve Clifford his job is if a better coach becomes available, and I mean like not Nick Nurse. I mean like,
you mean like a certified
right,
proven winner.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, like let's say Mike D'Antoni decided to throw his hat back in the ring and said, "Hey, I'm interested. Oh, you guys drafting Wemby? Hey, let me come on back." Right. It wouldn't surprise me if the Hornets made that move, or if Ime Udoka was interested. Although they're saying he's probably going to go to Toronto, something like that. Otherwise, I feel like you got to give Clifford another year, right?
Because I'm sorry, to me, there's nothing I can point to that say, man, he really. Because think about it, Kaiser. And the one thing that has annoyed me to no end with the Hornets fan base is acting like Miles' situation and the injuries just didn't matter.
Right.
That is the one thing that has annoyed the hell out of me. Like just losing LaMelo for what? I don't know. How many games did he miss? 50 or something like that? Miles not playing the whole season. And then on top of that, Hayward, Rozier, Oubre, DSJ, all missing time just didn't matter. It just didn't matter. Let's just blame Jordan and Mitch. Let's just do what we do and just blame the front office. I'm saying all that to say this. Steve Clifford was obviously dealt the worst hand he could possibly be dealt, right? Did those players quit?
No, actually, no.
Did those players? Were there any signs of the locker room being lost?
No, the Hornets play hard every game.
So what are we talking about? What did Clifford do to not deserve to coach this team the next
People
season?
are just saying that because they didn't like they didn't like the hire in the first place. The irony is that most of those people wanted Borrego gone. Right. Be careful what you wish for, right? And they felt like Clifford was a retread, and which is true. That's 100% true.
Retread, right.
So
in the most literal sense.
Yeah. So and a lot of people felt like he probably wasn't the best choice, but the problem is that he was really the only choice at that point, unless you want to bring up an assistant, which I felt like.
Let me just throw this out there. We never really knew what happened with D'Antoni. I've always wondered what happened.
It wouldn't surprise me, like what we're hearing about Kenny Atkinson and the assistants. Right. I can't imagine a coach like Mike D'Antoni wouldn't want to bring in his own guys.
Would the Hornets really do that twice? And I'm literally asking.
See, we don't really know. We don't even know how much truth there is to those statements. So, hey, speaking of assistants, I don't know if you guys caught this in Game 2 of the Kings Warriors, but they specifically talked about Jay Triano. He's one of the assistants for Sacramento, and they're saying that's one of the reasons Monk flourishes in Sacramento. Yeah, and Monk himself said that Jay Triano was one of the reasons that he was able to not go crazy in Charlotte. Right. And I said that to say is someone in the Hornets group, this was some time ago, essentially said that the Hornets assistants, and this was when Borrego was coaching, the Hornets assistants are a bunch of guys no one's ever heard of. And it's like, Jay Triano is one of the best assistants in he is known to develop players, right? He was so good at player development that when he coached Toronto for a short time, they were terrible, but he was an interim coach. They fired him, but then said, hey,
we want you back.
Can you come back as the director of player development? Right. And he took the role. And flourished. So that was one of the guys we fired. Like when you fire a head coach,
you fire their
right? You get rid of a guy like Jay Triano. Right.
And look, and the thing that kicks us in the butt the most is the Raptors are like the model franchise when it comes to developing players that you never heard of. You know,
who's Fred VanVleet?
Who was Siakam?
Yeah, you're a liar if you said you knew those two guys were going to be all stars. Liar.
Who was Chris Boucher? Never heard this dude before. Now, so hey, we sold sometimes, man.
Speaking of playoffs,
yeah,
Dylan Brooks.
You big dummy.
You stupid as hell. Big dummy. You the dumbest player.
You're dumber than Miles Bridges.
Yeah, you dumb. Let me ask you this. So there was a quote that's been circulating and people kind of talking about this. There's this talking point that players aren't afraid of LeBron like they were afraid of Jordan. Right. Now, I don't know if players were afraid of Jordan, but I'll say this. Nobody ever talked shit to Michael Jordan on the court. Nobody, except for the New York Knicks guys, and that was because they hated each other. But no one ever went up to Jordan, go to Michael Jordan when he was 40 and be like, "You old." Right. Michael Jordan he was gonna go in the closet. He was gonna get the ones. He was gonna get the ones, maybe the twos, possibly the threes. He was gonna lace them up. And you might get fit. He gave the Charlotte Hornets 50 when he was 40 years old. 50, like it was no problem, right? You didn't talk to Michael Jordan that way because you knew he was going to take it personal.
I'm going to keep this really short. Go YouTube Derek Martin, Michael Jordan.
Yes.
I'm
yes.
Keep it like that.
You didn't talk shit to Michael Jordan. Right. Why dudes talk shit to LeBron James? Remember Lance Stevenson? Yeah. Dylan Brooks. Right. There's a lot. It seems like every playoffs there's like one dude whose job it is to antagonize LeBron James.
Let me say this specifically about Dylan Brooks, and not only just Dylan Brooks, but the Memphis Grizzlies as a whole, because you can also kind of throw John Morant in here too when I'm about to say this. Okay, on one hand. You can appreciate the bravado that the Grizzlies have, because you can appreciate confidence,
yes,
and not being scared of anybody. I kind of wish our Hornets would have a little bit of that. However, there are some lines you don't cross, especially when you haven't done anything.
Yes,
win something first, Dylan Brooks.
You gotta win. Just like people were mad at Golden State, all the battles that they had with the Grizzlies and Golden State, even when they lost with, we got 4 of them. Right. And people would kind of say, they just suck. Well, but it's kind of the truth, though.
What it is.
What are you talking for? I got 4 of these. You have none.
You have 0.
You probably,
You've done nothing.
Dylan Brooks, I'd be shocked if he ever got 1 in his career. And if he does, it'll be because he was riding on someone else's coattails, right? So it's weird. I want to like the Memphis Grizzlies. I want them. I don't like the Lakers, but it's hard to cheer for Memphis this series because
they're going about it wrong.
Right. They act like the Detroit Pistons bad boys, right? And it's like, first of all, so John Morant comes back. And I'm like, okay, Morant's back, so this might be a good game. So I was watching the Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia card, and I just look at the score on my phone, and it's 44-15 in the second. What?
Now, to be fair, Memphis actually came back and made a game of it.
They did.
Now, here's the point that I'm getting to with Memphis. Shut up and play.
Yes.
Because you've proven that even without Brandon Clark, without Steven Adams, because those are big injuries.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Even without those 2 guys, you've proven you can play and beat the Lakers. Just shut up and play. Just shut up. Dylan Brooks, shut up. Y'all are a good enough team to beat the Lakers. You don't have to give them ammunition to come out and kick your ass in the first half.
I feel like the series isn't over. Right. LA's only up 2-1. Memphis could come back and win, but the problem is that you might have to exhaust yourself so much that when you get to the next round and don't end up, if Golden State guts out a series win against Sacramento,
everybody's in trouble if that happens.
Everyone's in trouble. They're my new pick if they gut out this win In fact, I think whoever wins the next road game in that series is going to win the series. I think Golden.
That's my favorite series of the playoffs.
Very good series. Every game's been really, really good. And the fact that Golden State, when they got back home, destroyed Sacramento. It's and that's very telling because neither team has shot the ball well. Right. From 3 this series, and the games in Sacramento were very nip and tuck. Mm-hmm. I mean, if Andrew Wiggins hits that 3 late in game 1, then right, yeah. So the fact that this game was game 3, which is always a pivotal game in every series, right, wasn't close. That kind of
lets you know the series is far from over.
Yes,
because we've watched enough basketball in our lifetimes to know a team goes up 2-0, everybody jumps on that team's bandwagon. Oh, the series is over. They can't beat them.
Yep.
And a lot of times, teams come back.
Yep. So like they say, series don't start until a team wins on the road, right?
Yep. Exactly.
So would Golden State play Memphis? Golden State being a 6 seed, Memphis is a.
Memphis is a 2 seed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yes, they would.
Okay.
They would play each other the next round, which that would be boy.
You got me wanting to see it now.
Adam Silver is like, you remember when Scrooge McDuck used to jump in the money bin? Yeah. Okay. Also, let me say this about the playoffs. I like that this year's playoffs is more physical than we've seen in a long time.
Right.
Very chippy, very 90s like, right?
The Cavaliers scored 79 points.
Yeah.
Right.
But the NBA doesn't know how to handle this. The whole Draymond, Sabonis, Joel Embiid, James Harden, they got all of those calls wrong somehow. Right. They handled all of those situations very, very poorly. Right. Okay.
Deal with it.
Draymond should have been ejected.
Yep. And that should have been it, in my opinion. I don't agree with the suspension.
No, exactly. He should not have.
The game and let that be it.
Exactly. He should have got ejected. Sabonis should have got a flagrant 1. Play on the next game. That's it, right? The suspension. I understand Draymond has a history, but
which was their reason.
But I don't feel like what he did warranted a suspension. If it is, then now you've got to apply that across the board to everyone. Right. But you didn't do it when Joel Embiid kicked the dude. Basically did the same thing. Yeah. Right? Okay, so dude stepped over you. I get it. It's disrespectful. We might fight. But, hey, you kicked the dude. If anything, he should have been ejected at the very least. He wasn't even ejected. Right. He got a flagrant 1 for kicking someone. Draymond. Exactly. Yep. Yeah. So, then James Harden. At worst, that was an offensive foul. No way it should have been a flagrant. That's like, an ejection? No. And then they had, they had, the Dylan Brooks, LeBron James situation. Okay, so I felt like they maybe got that call right. Like you can't punch a guy in the balls and then continue to play, right? But it's like the NBA doesn't know what to do with this physicality that's happened in this playoffs, like because the rules have changed so much since the Malice in the Palace, and the game hasn't been as physical since.
So listen, you know what you do with that? If you truly want to get a hold on this, you know what? And God, here I go, sound like old grumpy.
Oh, another one. Yeah, they threw out Claxton for.
Yeah.
Well, that's because it was a second technical, but it shouldn't have been. That shouldn't have been a tech.
So here's old grumpy 90s head Jamal talking. You know what you do if you want to really get a hold of the situation? Set the tone. Let the referee set the tone early. Let the referee say, no, we're not going to allow this much physical play from the jump. Because if you set that tone early, then you don't deal with a lot of this stuff that you have to deal with. The referees need to make their job easier on themselves. Now, You know how everybody hated Joey Crawford. Rest in peace, Joey Crawford, the referee Joey Crawford. But one thing you can't ever criticize him for is that when you played and Joey Crawford was refereeing, he was not going to take any crap. He was not gonna let you go overboard. And if you did go overboard, there were consequences for it. So if the NBA really wants to get a hold of the situation, you got to nip it in the bud before the game.
Yeah, I feel like the refs have allowed the physicality. I noticed that there were times where they were early in games, they were just letting them play.
Yeah, right.
And then they're like, oh, this is going to get kind of hand. And then they bogged the game down with fouls near the end.
Right.
But by then,
which means you're all over the place.
Exactly. Yeah, that happened in game 1 in Golden State, Sacramento. By the way, real quick, that game 4 has started, and Draymond Green did not start. Steve Kerr is a genius. He has his finger on the pulse of that team, and he sees how well they played without Draymond.
Man, you stole my point. Because all of y'all, Mike Jackson built the team. Steve Kerr don't really do nothing. Steve Kerr don't really do nothing.
This is what Steve Kerr does, right?
Yep.
If they come back and win this series, it'll be because of this. It'll be
seriously.
Yeah. But I like the increased physicality of the playoffs, but the NBA does need to
just show some consistency. Whatever you decide to do.
Exactly. Speaking of physicality, the most physical playoffs ever, the NHL playoffs. Hurricanes beat the Islanders today 5-2. They will probably win that series. It should have been a sweep. But game 4 was the dumbest.
That was the dumbest game ever.
Or game 3, sorry. It was the dumbest game. Now, I'm not like a hockey expert, but I watch a lot of NHL because I've been a Canes fan since they moved to Raleigh in the 90s. That might be the dumbest ending I've ever seen in a game. And Islanders fans, man, all we had to do was just keep putting the puck on goal. And no, you got lucky as hell. That's why y'all got destroyed this game. Go Canes. I want to see Canes Bruins in the ECF, and I feel like whoever wins that will win the Stanley Cup.
Okay, I know we got to wrap it up. I have one more NBA playoff thought. Milwaukee, y'all better get y'all stuff together. Listen.
Don't lose again to the Miami Heat after you lost in the bubble, and we all were like, "Well, it was the bubble."
If Milwaukee gets beat by the Heat again this year, oh my God, that would be. Ooh, that's.
But I mean, with Giannis, I don't think he's 100% from falling on his back. I think that.
See, I'm glad you mentioned that because here's ultimately the point that I wanted to get to. Right. So at some point, yesterday I watched that game. And at some point during the telecast, one of the announcers were saying, well, maybe the Bucks feel like they can beat the Heat without Giannis, and they want Giannis to rest one more game.
Nope. You can't beat the Heat without Giannis.
It's almost like the Heat heard it. You know
what I mean?
Like, oh, really?
I mean, Giannis is top 5 player in the league, maybe third best right now, Yeah, exactly. So, nah. Don't.
Y'all better get together.
Don't do that because... Yeah, don't do that. I actually feel a little bit sorry for the Brooklyn Nets.
I do too.
Because to get just really beat up. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You went from having a super team
to the Hornets.
Exactly. Yep. Y'all might as well not even made the playoffs. Y'all gonna get swept. So now you made the playoffs.
Now you're the Wizards.
Yes. You got swept. You getting a lottery pick. And who do you got? Who's your guy? By the way, Hornets fans mad that we paid Gordon Hayward $30 million. Y'all know what the Nets paid Joe Harris to average 1.9 points a game in the playoffs.
Ouch. Some of y'all wanted Joe Harris too.
Joe Harris is the guy. You got to have a guy.
So they paid that money for Swede Malicuk, basically.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. Hey, you, stand in the corner. Just stand over there. When we pass you the ball, shoot it. Lot of people owe Malicuk apology. Nobody in our viewer list because y'all are smart basketball fans. But there are some people in the Hornets group that owe that man an apology. Think the Hornets re-sign him?
It's tough. That's a tough question.
Yeah.
It's just a long term.
We're kind of stacked at guards with not a lot of separation of talent.
I'm not really going to answer the question. I'll just give you this. Martin, Booknight, Malicuk,
McGowan, Oubre. Yeah. DSJ. LaMelo Ball. We got 47 guards on the team. Yeah.
I'm just keeping it there. That's a tough call.
Yeah, really is. Yeah, I hate sports.
Hey man, one more thought. A couple of weeks before that draft lottery comes, are you gonna watch? Are you gonna watch the draft?
I don't know. I don't know.
And we're talking about the NBA draft lottery.
I think I will, because I remember a few years ago when we drafted LaMelo Ball, the feeling I got when I saw that the Knicks picked 8th, because that meant that we would pick in the top 3, right? And so, you know, I just need the Hornets to not pick 6th, 7th, or 8th. Right. I'll be happy anywhere in the top 5, which statistically they have a good chance. They have a little better than a coin flip to pick in the top 5, roughly 55%. But historically, in the new draft system, the team with the 4th best odds has always picked 6. Now, it's only been 2 drafts under the new system, but that does not bode well. Hopefully, it's just a statistical anomaly, and we pick in the top 5. There is a 2.2% chance the Hornets could pick 8th, which if that happens, I am retiring from sports forever. Yes. Yes. We're going to, like everybody else, we're going to start a rap podcast.
Or a dumb relationship podcast.
Yeah, or just something. Just something stupid. Yeah. So, yeah. Let's see. What are my shout outs? Oh, no one in our chat's going to do this, so I'm not really speaking to you guys, but maybe somebody on YouTube will come across this video and decide to watch it. But if somebody pulls into your driveway that you don't know, knocks on your door that you don't know,
you don't have to shoot them.
Comes up to your car, 4 shootings this week in which somebody made a mistake and got killed. Well, only 2 of those people got killed, but still, I mean, why? And then, so these shootings are interesting because they subvert the narrative that people that commit shootings with guns, as opposed to other things you shoot, bow and arrows, I guess, but people that use guns are to commit crimes are somehow like these mental anomalies. Like, I get it. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. I know this. I'm a gun owner. I own a lot of guns, actually. But at the same time, it's like if knocking on someone's door, the wrong door, is going to get you killed, then what does that say for the country that we live in, man? You can't even pull into somebody's driveway and yeah. Like, what? Guys, come on, man.
Use your head, y'all.
Please, let me find out one of my kids got shot because of some stupid shit like that. Woo, boy, yes. You will see the gun collection. I'm be like, you ever seen I'm Gonna Get You Sucker? Where he has all the guns and he like can't even walk. That's me. Shoot one of my kids. That's what happened. Guys, stop it.
My turn.
Go ahead.
For my shout at, first of all, I know a lot of our fan base that watches Under Construction, and I'm guessing here. I'm guessing y'all don't really get into baseball like that. I'm guessing
I know what you're about to say.
I'm guessing y'all don't watch a lot of baseball. So let this be a educational shout at of some sorts. Hornets fans, maybe not y'all, but Hornets fans. I know you love criticizing Michael Jordan. Some of it's fair. A lot of it I feel like is unfair. Okay? But the next time I hear any Hornets fan say that Michael Jordan is the worst owner in sports, I will jump through my phone and choke you because it is not a true statement. You know why it's not a true statement, Kaiser? Because John Fisher of the Oakland A's is the worst owner in professional sports, and it is not close. Why am I yelling and why am I passionate? You know why? Because I've been an Oakland A's fan since I was 8 years old, Kaiser. I'm 42 years old. I've been a fan since I was 8 years old. I have never in the history of watching sports seen an owner just dismantle not only just a team, but a city like John Fisher has with Oakland and the Oakland Athletics. Kaiser, it is not even May yet. and the Oakland A's have a negative 100 run differential, and it's not even May yet. We are 4-17. We're on a pace to be the worst Major League Baseball team in the history of baseball. We are 2011 Charlotte Bobcats bad. We're worse, actually. You know why? Because John Fisher, who makes a profit every year due to Major League Baseball revenue sharing, does not give a damn about putting a professional team on the field. We have a triple A team, which most triple A teams can beat on a nightly basis. You know why? Because our owner doesn't give a damn. Why am I saying all this? Because when y'all say stuff like, Michael Jordan don't care, he don't spend money, everything y'all say about Michael Jordan, apply it to this man because it is true.
They won't. You know why? They don't even know who you're talking about. They only know Michael Jordan's the only owner in sports to those people.
Let me calm down a bit. This is why I want this to be a bit educational for those of you who say things like that. If you don't care what I'm talking about, hey, fine. But if you want a chance to educate yourself a little bit, Google the name John Fisher and Oakland A's and see how much this man has destroyed this team and the city of Oakland.
You know you're bad when Mark Davis is talking shit about you.
The nerve of that guy to come out and say that. The sad thing is he didn't lie.
Yeah. Right.
That's all I have.
Well, real good question right here. We talked about this before on the show. Is Jordan really going to give the team his only African American owner? I don't think he's going to sell it.
I think he's waiting for it.
I think he's waiting to see what's going to happen in the draft. Yeah. We've said this before. If you draft Wemby, you ain't selling the team. That's the dumbest thing ever. If you pick 8th, then yeah, y'all can have it. But that does, I think the idea of being the only African American owner, I don't think Jordan ever really thought about it that much. Right. But we've talked about this years and years. I felt like we say this every year. Michael Jordan has done more to put minorities, particularly African Americans, in prominent positions in the NBA, particularly the Charlotte Hornets / Bobcats, than anybody else in the history of the NBA.
I know someone personally.
Yeah, and there's something to be said about that. Now, were they the best people given the Hornets history? Maybe not, but I mean, we got to start somewhere, right? You got to put these people in position, these front office positions, these executive positions, more black executives than any other team in the history of the NBA. That's one of the things we lose it with Michael Jordan. A lot of people weren't seeing, but people will say, I don't care about that. I just want a winning team. Life's bigger than basketball.
Not only that, man, I'm not going to jump into a whole nother Hornets discussion. I'm just going to say it's not as bad as y'all think it is right now, man. I'm going to keep this real short and sweet. Next season could be the flip of the coin that the Hornets really need. I'm going to keep it at that.
No, absolutely. It could be 1992 all over again.
We'll hold out hope for that.
Oh, what happened to my camera?
Oh, well, since the camera's going out.
Cameron said we should leave.
We should go.
All right, well, that'll do it. Hey, I just want to say this, though. So, since there's no camera, this is a good time for me to say this. I thought about this the other day. I wish Jerry was here.
Man. Yeah,
I wish Jerry Valancourt was here.
I really miss that dude.
Yeah, I would love to hear his thoughts about it, particularly if we end up with Wemby or the number 1 pick. Right. Man, he would have a lot to say. Man, so rest in peace, Jerry. Yep, absolutely. So yeah, we're going dark on Under Construction. Y'all take care. We're gonna watch this Golden State Sacramento game. Y'all enjoy the playoffs.